Hi everyone, welcome back to Brook in the Air. And thank you for joining us last week. We went over the 737 MAX and the entire 737 family by extension. This week we're going over the A320neo by Airbus, which is arguably the most successful narrow-body commercial airliner in the history of commercial aviation. Some say the 737 is the most popular and best-selling. The 737 is the most popular aircraft in the Western Hemisphere by far, especially among Canadian, North American, and South American airlines, essentially. Although, fun fact, the A320neo is actually the chief airline of American Airlines, the actual American Airlines, with I believe it's 467 aircraft in the American Airlines narrow-body fleet. Now, American Airlines does have I think one or two 737 MAX airplanes now, but they mostly use them for reserve routes. They keep them in reserve in case their A320s are occupied with their routes. But overall, they much prefer the A320neo. The A320 is also preferred in European continents. The continents of Europe, I should say. European countries. The launch customer of the A320 was Lufthansa, of all things. Now, the 737 did come out first. Came out in the 1960s as a successive derivative of the 707 and 717, which is actually still flying today. But the A320 came out in the mid-80s at the arguable height of the Cold War, of all things. Here's the A320 right here. This is the first iteration of the A320 put into service. This is the A320 as we know it when it first came out. It's back in the mid-80s. Kind of has the 1980s mystique and glow. This is just above the Airbus manufacturing in Toulouse, France. Had very high quality engines for the time, and to this day, about 3.5 decades later, the A320 has 0 hull losses and 0 fatalities. Now, the A320 was created as a means of competing with the 737, Boeing's erstwhile supremacy aircraft on the market for short and medium haul routes. And it competed very well, actually. To this date, over, like I said, 3.5 decades later, the A320 is still the choice aircraft of many European airlines. Fantastic, really. This was the Lufthansa iteration of the A320, the launch customer of the A320, by the way. This is the A320neo. So this came out in 2007, after it had passed clearance certification in 2006. Retreat number Delta Alpha India November Charlie. And it has yet to be awarded a nickname. Lufthansa nicknames all their planes. And Lufthansa has two emblems, actually. The wide-body planes usually have a white eagle or swan in the background. The narrow-body planes and short and medium-haul planes have the orange or yellow swan in the back. Typically, the Neos, and we'll get into this a bit later, have two engine choices. One created by Pratt & Whitney and one created by CFM International. But all pretty much have the same exterior fuselage shape. The Neo, you can tell, has the sharklets. Now, sharklets are the same as the Boeing winglets. They serve the same function. They have the same basic overall design, but the sharklets are just Airbus's name for winglets.
And also, anybody who thinks that who has any comments about the French, remember that they made this and it's a lot more reliable than Boeing.
Also, for those who want to criticize the French, I might point out that the French actually had the best battle tanks in World War II, by far. But that's entirely a different discussion.
We'll get to that in a military show sometime.
Yeah. This is a planeform view of the underside of the A320. Not too much different, but it does give an interesting view of an idea of the complexity of the aircraft. This belongs to the aircraft registry number Echo Charlie Hotel Yankee Charlie. And you can look that up on Flight Radar to see if it's still flying. I don't think it is, but just in case I'm wrong, go ahead.
It's Flight Aware, isn't it, or something? Is that the one?
Both Flight Aware and Flight Radar work.
Flight Radar. Look up Elon Musk.
Yeah. Flight Radar is a really cool app which actually shows you the radar signature of the different commercial planes in the area. Flight Aware gives you real-time information on your flight and those around you. Now, this is the same one we had earlier, but this gives you a little more clear perspective of the A320 as it's taking off. Showing the flaperons, ailerons, and sort of a ventral look to it on the top there. From the bottom to the top. This is the Air Baltic A220. The A220 has an interesting variant of the 320. Now, the A220 started out as the Bombardier CRJ C Series, but Bombardier was partially bought out by Airbus.
Totally not a monopoly at all, is it?
But, you know, it's like everything else in the aviation industry. It's all about mergers and acquisitions.
Yes. Reminder, boys and girls, it is the only monopoly that America is totally okay with.
This particular A320 belongs to Baltic, and you can tell it was originally a C-Series aircraft by the shape of the nose. The more pointed, jagged, kind of shark-like appearance. But don't let that fool you, it's definitely an A220. And the A220, it differs from A330, or A320, because of its smaller size, but it uses many of the same fuselage components.
I know, Brooke. Words are hard.
Chop. So, this A320 is actually an A319, shrunken a little bit, and belongs to Swiss Air, which is now defunct. And after the 111 crash, was brought back to life by Lufthansa Group, of all things, as Swiss Air International, or Swiss International Airlines. Swiss Air mostly operates A319s, A320s. It does have a couple long-range, long-haul aircraft, though. A couple A350s, a couple A330s.
And remember, kids, all of these aircraft crashes that we're talking about can be seen on Mayday Air Crash Disasters. Yes, shameless plug, no we don't own it, but seriously, go look for it. It's actually well done.
They are not paying us to plug their show. We're just putting it out there.
Yeah. Because that's where we've gotten a lot of our information from when it comes to crashes.
Mm-hmm. So this is one of two engine options on the A320. Neo, I should say. Neo is a double analogy, or double acronym, I should say, standing for new engine option. It also stands for the Greek, Latin, sort of Latin, word for new, or Neo.
And no, they didn't have Keanu Reeves fly on the first one.
This is the Pratt & Whitney Pure Power PW1100 GJM. This was the initial engine option offered on Neo. And I believe the next one...
That's the LEAP, yes.
Yes. Is the CFM International LEAP 1B. Now, this is the preferred engine option on Neos. But you can have either one.
It looks a little bit chunkier.
It's a little chunkier, yes. Um, the CFM International Leap 1B has a bit bigger turbofan and puts out a little more power.
You can also notice the flaps look a bit different.
They have to
Oh.
for the different for welding on the different engine types.
Yeah.
But don't let that mistake you. It's the same aircraft. They just have different engine options.
Yeah. I actually have a question about this one. That red part, for a sec, that is LEAP, right? For a second there, I thought it said USAF.
No, that's a Leap.
Okay.
It's CFM International Leap 1B engines. And this was one of the trial A320neos.
Okay, that brings up another question. What is the thing on the back of the tail?
Weather sensor. It feeds information from here, or gained here, into here, and up into the cockpit. To measure airspeed, height, elevation, temperatures, all the fun stuff.
For a second there, I thought it was a parachute preparing to open up.
Yeah, no. That would crash aircraft.
Well, what about stuff like the space shuttle that have parachutes on the back end? Is that because they're just more chunky?
No, it's because the space shuttle is coming down from a height of over 10 miles atmosphere. It has to glide down.
And it's a flying brick.
Yeah.
Sorry. Random tangent, people. Pay no attention. We might actually cover that one day. The aircraft, the plane that flew around the space shuttle.
Oh, the 747-200 owned by NASA that doubles as the space shuttle carrier, or SOC.
Yeah, it might be something to
Yeah.
cover in another episode. Sorry. Again, random tangent. I
So-
have to do this because you people don't ask questions. More people watch. Ask your questions, please.
So this is a dorsal view of the A320, showing you just how smooth the aircraft really is, and it has a great view of the ailerons and flaps. Now, keep in mind, the A320neo that's pictured here was created directly to compete with the 737 MAX, and it has done so with amazing success. It's currently outselling the 737 MAX by 80 million per plane to 1.
What are some of the controversies associated with the Airbus?
None really to speak of.
What about the paint? Or is that a different one?
No, that's the. I believe you're referring to the controversy between Qatar Airways and Airbus.
That's A380 or A350?
A350.
Ah.
And Emirates has said they will take the A350s, but has said that if any issues arise, then they will forward them all of the planes at no charge, no cost. That is a huge loss to Airbus. So this is a low-cost carrier receiving its first A320neo. Arca Airways of, I believe, Saudi Arabia. Oh, it's brand new because its paint is unchipped, and you can almost see the shine glistening off the chocolates.
Well, it definitely hasn't gone through a volcano.
Another disaster reference, really.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Speedbird. Come on.
Speedbird is the call sign of every British Airways plane.
Yeah. Speaking of cheap jets.
Yeah, so everyone who lives in Europe, especially the UK, but Europe in general, knows is remotely familiar at least with EasyJet, the ultimate low-cost carrier next to Ryanair. This is an EasyJet, but what I wanted to point out to you here is the fact that it's an A318. And A318 is the most shrunken variant of the A320.
It's a teeny tiny boy.
It is. It carries a maximum of maybe 80 people. I think its maximum capacity is like 88 people with crew and pilots combined. Now, it's also the worst selling variant of the A320. because a lot of carriers just don't have a need for the 318. They don't have any want or desire or need for it. The A320 is enough.
Well, and if you're dealing with something, doesn't the A318 almost use just about as much fuel, and at most it'd be helpful on a shorter runway, but most of those use prop planes, don't they?
In many cases, but they can also use the A319 and take a few more passengers. And if not, they can use a adjacent runway that uses a longer runway. As you can tell it's a European airline because it has the EU flag right here. Of course, this particular aircraft is registry number Golf Echo Zebra Zulu, sorry, Bravo Whiskey. So you can look that up if you had any inclination whatsoever.
If you really cared that much, guys.
Now you can see the cargo openings right here and here, and this one has a whopping 8 exit doors because you can figure 4 on each side.
Yep, which means 2 overwing escape chutes and a front and a rear.
And it looks like it can carry more than 80 people, but you got to keep in mind this is a narrow body single aisle airliner. So maybe at most 3 rows of seats, 1 by 2.
Honestly, it looks like probably about 2. That's about 40 windows.
Yeah. So figure 2 by 2. There are Bombardier jets bigger than this.
There are prop jets bigger than that.
Yeah.
Speaking of cheap.
So this is the exact same aircraft. This is for North American favorite Frontier Airlines. It's A318.
Yep, you can tell by the American flag as well. It starts with an N, probably.
November, Bravo, Oscar, 6 Foxtrot Romeo.
The last 2 probably stand for the Frontier.
It does. Yeah.
And then you have N for North America, because if we look at this one.
N for model number. Model number.
So this one's G, which probably means it flies around in Germany.
Georgia.
Oh, Georgia. Oh, it's Georgia. And yes, people were talking about Georgia the country, not Georgia the state. Moving on.
Georgia, the Balkan country, not Georgia, the redneck state.
Oh, be nice.
I am nice. That was nice. Now, Frontier is one of our many low-cost airlines here in the U.S. Frontier does not have a zero safety record, but the A318 does.
But Frontier will pick up anything that's cheap.
Frontier picks up anything that's cheap and anything that can be used easily. Overall, the aircraft itself has a stellar safety record. Yeah. It has very small sharklets and has a maximum thrust of, like...
Does it have a double sharklet?
Yes. 1 down, 1 up. Not really enough to make a huge difference, but enough to save upwards of 3.5% on fuel.
Every bit of fuel helps.
So this is the A321, very popular by North American company JetBlue.
And this one is one of their first A321s, and it specifically flies, unless I'm wrong, from New York to Rome.
And back. Flying extra long range. They basically took A320, the basic model, and stretched it. And put new engines on. This is the same basic A321, or A320 I should say. A320neo, new variant, but they lengthened it. And JetBlue, mind you, loves to put their new mid-suites on the A321 for their new transatlantic routes. Notably from New York JFK to things like Paris Charles de Gaulle, London Heathrow, and actually that's really all it can reach.
Yeah. It's not like you're going to get to fly to the Middle East.
No.
That's for some of those extended range ones. Like these guys.
Well, sort of. These are Qatar Airways A320neos waiting for their wheels and engines to be put in.
Doesn't the one in the background have... I think they just got done being painted.
They did. They were painted in Qatar colors at Toulouse.
Yeah, and the one on the right has the wheels. I think it just has the chocks around it.
Yeah, these all have the rear wheels. They just don't have front wheels yet. Well, this one does.
Yeah, they both do.
Well, there are 3 airlines here. Aircraft. But these are all in Qatar Airways painting and livery. And these are all A320s. And they're waiting for their engines to be put in. And waiting for the new glass to come off. Because they're like covers for the glass.
Mm-hmm. Because they didn't want to get the windows dirty when they painted it.
Correct.
Because then they have to pull it out and redo it.
It's like house painting. You cover up everything you don't want to paint on, and then you just paint around it.
Same thing with car paint.
So
and the granddaddy of them all.
And this is Air France, the flag carrier of France, and their A318. They have a total of maybe 6 A318s in their fleet.
Still.
Yeah. And they use the A318s for short-haul routes around France.
Basically, pretty much what? Paris to Calais?
Or Paris to Toulouse, or Paris to Versailles, although that's more of a car trip than anything else.
Yeah, but still some people like flying.
Some do, yeah. Or Paris to places in Spain, which is short right away.
I think, wouldn't they use the 318 as well to like London Heathrow?
Or like London Gatwick.
Mm.
The A318 is too small to land in Heathrow.
Wait, too small?
Yeah.
I thought it was just that they could be too big. I thought anything could
Here's
fly.
the thing. Well, it's perfectly capable of landing in Heathrow. The problem is, it doesn't have the gate spots at Heathrow. Air France's spots at Heathrow are reserved for things like its 777s, its A350s.
Because they have an expanded Heathrow.
Well, they've expanded Heathrow, but they don't have the gate allowance to shrink to the A318 size. Remember, they accommodated the A380, which is a super mega jumbo plane.
Well, yeah, because they wanted to feel special. Alright, that is our last one.
Alright, so I apologize for the shorter episode tonight. It covered a little more than I wanted to in too short a time, but that's okay. We still got a decent stream in. I would like to emphasize that I have a very special video coming next week on the top vacation destinations for adults only around the world. Several in the Caribbean, a couple are in Europe, and one is in the Middle East, and one is in Southeast Asia. None are in the US. And I do have a trip of all things coming up very soon. Well, comparatively soon, in about 5 months.
Also, since we don't have very many watchers at this time, or ever saw one, may I suggest that you put a poll giving people a couple suggestions of times when you would do this, so we can have a consistent time for it?
Good idea. I may do that, yes. In fact, I'll put a poll up, and you guys can also have the option of joining my Patreon, and liking my page on Facebook, and following my site and my blog on my actual site, Brooklyn Air Travel at squarespace.com.
And Patreon will get you access to the raw video footage of her trips.
Yep. You cannot see behind the scenes footage of me like changing or getting undressed or things like that. I don't do that sort of thing.
Yeah. It's mostly raw videos, like you get to see all the flubs that we do.
Bloopers.
Yeah. You basically get to see the raw blooper reel.
And trying to think if I had anything else coming up. I do have plans for vlogs for next, oh god, 2 to 3 months leading up to my trip. So get ready for that. And as I advance toward my trip, I'll have more on like Frankfurt am Main and the Frankfurt airport and planes I'm taking or aircraft I'm taking specifically, and a whole bunch of the airlines en route. Oh, I have tons of stuff planned. So
Also, I noticed that I am Tech Minion who deals with behind the scenes. I might as well introduce myself so it's not random voice of Craig. We also noticed that a lot of you liked the military video. So she does take suggestions within reason of subject for vlogs and subject for blogs. Some of them have been chosen by you. So
like one of my blogs on the XP70 Valkyrie, a supersonic bomber. That's not one I chose. That's one that was chosen by the viewers. So we did that.
Yep.
I haven't done that in a vlog yet. That's a blog only and can be seen only on my site.
Yep. So yeah, make suggestions in the comments. Also, we will try and link some of the things we talked about, if it's any import, down below. And yeah, I think that's about it.
You can read the blog version of this on my site. Once again, that's booked in the air travel at or/squarespace.com. And I'll see you in the air. Remember to like, comment, subscribe.